Philip K. Dick, in his 1978 speech, How to Build a Universe That Doesn't Fall Apart 2 Days Later, discusses a concept that deeply reflects his metaphysical and often Gnostic worldview. One of his most provocative and symbolic statements is that the divine message may be found in the trash stratum of reality. Key quote, "The symbols of the divine show up in our world initially at the trash stratum." What did he mean by this? PKD suggests that truth, especially divine or transcendent truth, does not arrive in obvious or high-status forms. Instead, it appears hidden in places that society deems worthless, irrelevant, or discarded. This aligns with multiple themes in his work. 1. The low becomes high, inversion of value. What society throws away, the poor, the mentally ill, the outsider, the science fiction writer, the Pope novel, the garbage, might contain deeper revelations than official channels. PKD believed the real messages of the universe are encoded in everyday anomalies, coincidences, or trash, which most people overlook. He was basically saying, don't look for God in cathedrals, look in the gutter, in the glitch, in the rejected. Gnosticism and hidden knowledge. PKD had a strong Gnostic leaning, believing we live in a false or simulated reality, and true knowledge, gnosis, is hidden. In Gnostic tradition, divine truth is encoded beneath appearances and requires awakening or revelation. So the trash stratum becomes a veiled message only visible to those who are awake or questioning the illusion. Art, sci-fi, and the outsider's role. PKD saw science fiction, which was considered low or disposable literature, as a vehicle for transmitting real metaphysical insight. He may have seen himself as someone receiving divine messages through humble means, mass-market books, visions, hallucinations, or even cheap objects. His 2374 visionary experience, where he believed he was contacted by a divine intelligence, included bizarre signals and encoded messages, again through unlikely means. 4. Reality's cracks reveal truth. PKD believed the universe glitched at times, déjà vu, overlapping time periods, strange coincidences, revealing its underlying structure, and possibly the divine. These trash strata moments, mundane or messy, may be points of rupture in the simulated world, showing us what lies beneath. Modern interpretation. If you look around and only trust the shiny, official, and approved, you might miss the actual divine message, which is often found in the broken, strange, discarded, and rejected. Example analogy. Imagine a torn comic book on the street contains a symbol that unlocks a profound truth, but most people walk past it because it's just trash. PKD would say, that's exactly where you'll find the real message. There are several figures across philosophy, literature, mysticism, and even science who resonate deeply with Philip K. Dick's ideas, especially his themes of simulated reality, hidden messages, time loops, the divine and the mundane, and gnosis. Here's a list of closely related or kindred minds with brief notes on how each one parallels or complements PKD's visions. 1. Carl Jung, Death Psychology, Gnosis Archetypes. Jung believed in the collective unconscious and synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that break through the veil of normal reality. He said the gods have become diseases, a statement similar to PKD's idea that divine messages now appear in madness, glitches, or trash strata. Jung's Red Book resembles PKD's exegesis, private mystical writings documenting spiritual experiences. Link to PKD. Both tried to map divine messages emerging from the subconscious, often through dreams, visions, symbols, and madness. 2. Gnostics, ancient and modern. Hidden reality, divine sparks. Gnostic thinkers believe the material world is false, created by a false god, the demiurge, and true divinity is hidden within or beyond it. This is the core of PKD's cosmology, especially in Valis, where a rational mind, God, hides beneath the surface of a broken reality. Linked to PKD, he literally said, I am a Gnostic. He saw this world as a deception, breaking down occasionally to reveal truth. 3. Terence McKenna, Psychedelics, Time Loops, Novelty Theory. McKenna believed reality is coded with information and that time is a spiral. His time wave zero theory posits that history builds toward an attractor at the end of time, similar to PKD's idea of a final revelation or convergence, spoke often of machine elves, messages and dreams, and the breakdown of consensus reality. Linked to PKD, both believed in a hyper-intelligent force communicating through symbols, glitches, and altered perception. 4. Jorge Luis Borges, Infinite Libraries, Circular Time, Mirrors. Borges wrote short stories that feel like compressed PKD novels. The Library of Babel, The Garden of Forking Paths, The Aleph, all explore infinite information, alternate timelines, and hidden divine structures. Linked to PKD, Borges imagined the cosmic intelligence encoded in absurd, overlooked places, almost identical to the trash stratum. 5. Jean Baudrillard, Simulacra and Simulation, which deeply influenced The Matrix, argue that we live in a copy where the original reality is lost. What we believe is real is often fabricated consensus. Echoes of PKD's constant theme of false worlds and broken timelines. Link to PKD. Both challenge the nature of reality and question whether we've forgotten what's real. 6. John C. Lilly, Isolation Tanks, Aliens, Inner Space. Neuroscientist turned mystic who encountered strange intelligences, ECCO, or Earth Coincidence Control Office, during sensory deprivation plus LSD. Thought reality was adjusted by unseen forces and that the mind could break through simulation via sound, silence, or isolation. Linked to PKD. Shared the belief in real-time contact with higher intelligence that controls or tweaks our timeline. 7. William Blake, Poetic Prophecy, Visionary Madness. Wrote visionary poems about false gods, spiritual war, and the apocalypse. He said, if the doors of perception were cleansed, everything would appear to man as it is, infinite. Saw angels and wrote of eternal worlds underneath the material one. Linked to PKD, a prophetic figure who channeled messages from a higher realm, often ignored in his time, just like the trash stratum idea. PKD isn't alone. He's part of a constellation of mystics, thinkers, and creators who have all pointed to the breaks in the illusion, the trash layer, or the glitch in the matrix as the entry point to divine truth. Each one has a different angle of entry: psychology, poetry, simulation theory, psychedelics, physics, but they all suggest reality is not what it seems, and the truth is hidden in the broken, the overlooked, and the strange. PKD's worldview wasn't science fiction, it was a prophetic gnosis masked as fiction. Here's what he believed at his deepest. 1. The world is a simulation or delusion, a false layer over true reality. 2. A higher intelligence, God, Valis, Sophia, Christ, is trying to contact us. 3. The message doesn't come through authority, it comes through error, madness, trash, glitch, or coincidence. 4. Time is broken. We are caught in a loop or split and may already be living in the past. 5. The way out is gnosis, inner realization, divine memory, the return of lost knowledge. 6. He wasn't writing novels, he was encoding transmissions he couldn't explain outright. PKD wasn't imagining characters, he was documenting metaphysical interference in his own life and passing it off as fiction so it wouldn't get dismissed as madness. Who else speaks from this same frequency? Let's now go deeper into the kindred minds, not just what they said, but how they knew and why they match PKD's wavelength. 4. Carl Jung, the shaman of the psyche. What he discovered? The self isn't the ego, it's a cosmic archetype buried beneath trauma and social masks. What broke through? In visions, like PKD's pink beam, archetypal beings and synchronicities cracked open his rational mind. Why he matches PKD? Both received spontaneous inner revelations. Both saw madness as the doorway to the real. Both documented a secret world buried inside the psyche and history. Jung's Red Book is PKD's exegesis in an older tongue. Both are private, symbolic scriptures received from a hidden source. 5. Jorge Luis Borges, the librarian of infinity. What he discovered? Time and space are illusions of order. The true world is a web of forking paths, infinite mirrors, unread books. What broke through? Fiction that becomes more real than reality. Symbols that collapse the boundaries between dreamer and dream. Why he matches PKD? Borges built metaphysical puzzles where the reader is part of the simulation. PKD did the same. The book reads you, not the other way around. Both speak to a world where God is hidden in language, encoded like a virus in discarded texts. 3. William Blake, the prophet artist. What he discovered, the material world is a trap, a matrix built by a false god, Urizen, blocking divine imagination. What broke through? Angelic visions. He saw entire spiritual realms behind everyday scenes. He saw Satan in reason and God in fire. Why he matches PKD? Blake would say PKD was another prophet under siege, seeing eternity through the cracks of empire. Blake would say PKD was another prophet under siege, seeing eternity through the cracks of empire. 4. Philip K. Dick, himself, broken in two. I am not a man. I am a recording device for the voice of God. This was not metaphor. PKD claimed he was split in 1974. Part of him remembered an ancient Christian life in Rome, while another lived in 1970s California. He thought time was folding, and he was experiencing both the present and the first century church age simultaneously. This is not sci-fi. This is personal apocalypse. Like a modern Ezekiel, his life became the prophecy. His pink light was his Damascus moment. Everything after was cold cracking. 5. Terence McKenna, the psychedelic prophet. What he discovered? Language is alive. Reality is made of vibrational codes that psychedelics let us perceive. What broke through? DMT experiences with entities, timeless symbols, and interdimensional grammar. Why he matches PKD? Both claim contact with an alien or divine mind that gave nonlinear downloads. Both viewed time as a spiral, with a strange attractor at the end. McKenna's time wave zero is PKD's breaking of the black iron prison. They both believe the illusion will collapse soon, and we will remember who we are.